Hello, and welcome to season 2 of the Sarah Football Podcast. This is actually our second episode, which is exciting. And in the coming days and weeks and months, we will have many more to add to this season. My name is Amy Strain, and I'm Sarah's Director of Marketing and Communication, which you know.
Hello,
I'm joined by Sarah's newly bearded coach, Patrick Walsh. How are you, Coach?
It's good to be back.
Yeah, it is, huh?
Yeah, it is.
It's
It's fun. We're approaching August, and the minute someone thinks August, for people like me at least, it's football time.
It is football time, and a lot of action's been happening on the field, which we'll get into in a little bit.
Yeah.
But how have you been? What have you been up to?
Well, I mean, you did point out this beard thing.
Yeah, looks good.
Some of the kids call me Santa. Some guys are like, "Hey, you look like the guy from Castaway," and so I get a bunch of fun stuff. And my mom, who absolutely hates it, I said, I look 15 years older, which is probably true because the beard is not coming in with color, or it is, but it's gray.
It is,
it's
but
Santa.
yeah. Well, I'm sure for a mom, right?
Yeah, totally.
Well,
So,
I know you've been traveling a lot. I was gonna ask if you were, traveling in Appalachia, or, I didn't know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I started going this literally 78 days ago, and it's kind of a symbol more than anything else, and I will be cutting it. This is not going to be forever thing, or my mom would, leave me type
Exactly.
thing. I don't know if that's
we might not see
possible.
her in the stands.
Yeah, she wouldn't come to games. But it's, I've been going through a transformation period this summer, and I think that's what all teams go through, and coaches and people. And when it comes to transformation, every single day we're either getting better or getting worse as humans. There's nothing constant about our life.
Mm-hmm.
And Sarah's going through a really difficult time right now, which we'll touch on, but things change and they can change quickly. So transforming and either changing to get better or changing to get worse is something that we all need to deal with on a daily basis. I've always talked about the Batman and the Joker, and
right.
Inside of each of us is both, or good and evil, God and devil. And just that I reached a point, Amy, where I got to a weight that I wasn't happy with. I went on a hike at Pepperdine on my son's recruiting trip, and oddly we hiked up this hill, and Pepperdine's a Christian school,
right.
And there's a cross. And I look up at this cross, and the golf coach, Michael Beard, is a wonderful man. I was like, yeah, we're hiking up there. And I'm like, is that Everest?
Am I going to make it?
Oh my gosh. And it was a really awful reminder of just how out of shape I was. And getting out of shape as a human is a slow process. And it's a constant decision-making process about things you put in your body and choices you make,
Mm-hmm.
like sit on the couch forever or do a yoga class or whatever. And I was making the decisions on the other side. And I got to the top of that thing and sat beneath a cross, and I wasn't connecting it at the time, but at that moment I was changing. It's like, it's time to change. And that's what I've been doing.
That's wonderful. I mean, the cross is very symbolic, and we are, as humans, we're all works in progress, and we do have to continue to modify and alter, adjust, and be adaptable.
Yeah.
So I applaud you for
Yeah.
taking the leap and growing the beard and making it up to the cross.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I think at that moment, God punches me in the face. Sometimes you have that image.
Not these gentle whispers.
There's
of
no,
intuition.
it's a punch in the face. Like, it's time to wake up, and it's usually painful. The punches in the face are painful.
They are.
So anytime I've gone through a transformation type period in my life, it's been probably due to a low in my life, or a punch in the face, or just God or the universe reminding me that I'm not on this earth to be that. And there's maybe something else I can do, make better choices, and be a better mentor, a better leader for my kids, and be a better husband, or be a better leader for my coaches, or work better with my partner and my people at next level. So it was just a reminder that sometimes life, God, whatever you want to call it out there, whoever's listening, and can punch you in the face, and that may not be a bad thing. It's a time to look inward and introspectively find your weaknesses, and that's what I've been doing for this summer.
That's good. I mean, that's great. I mean, you ultimately hold yourself to your own standard too, right?
Yeah.
Like when you were climbing up, that mountain or whatnot. I'm sure that you're like, wait, this isn't me. You kind of sometimes we lose ourselves, and you really have to dig deep or be, sweating and not making it up to the top in order to remember that no, I want to be this way.
Sure.
And make that conscious.
And I think our team is going through that. This is July. It's
right.
The dog days of summer. We're not wise enough to understand that the game is right around the corner, because it's kind of not, right? I mean, we still have.
I feel like August is going quick, but yeah, I see what you're
But it's not
saying.
tomorrow or this week. We're not in pads. I mean, it's just, we're doing the same thing over and over and over. Like the legit definition of insanity. Like, okay, we're gonna run around the track today. Okay, we're gonna lift today. Okay, we're gonna maybe install a play or two. It's just, it's the same thing over and over. And July is always it's the worst. It's the June is exciting because we just graduated. We're doing spring ball. It's fun. And then July is like, oh my God, when is August going to get here?
Exactly.
Let's play some football.
Let's
this is ridiculous. But we're our team is transforming, and we're building, and the kids are changing, and again, it's a choice. You can choose to be here. These kids can choose to be here and be focused and change for the better, or not. Mm-hmm. And those are decisions that are being made on a daily basis here across the country, but obviously here at Sarah.
Sure. And so how's everything looking in July? So what exactly? I know that you started back up last week. You have practice this week, and then is it 1 week off before?
Yeah, about 10 days.
10
so days. I believe that in structuring the season or structuring our yearly calendar, we want to attempt to be our very best in December and November. Right. So the Thanksgiving weekend is always the CCS championship. We want to be our best at that time. And I made the mistake as a young coach is, we're going to be the best on, August 26th. We're going to be the very best, which requires like a maddening summer, which drives everyone crazy, including myself. And so I've changed that over time in my 2 decades here. So what we do is the day school ends, we start our summer program or spring program. We go for 4 hard weeks, and I give 2 weeks off over July. So the 4th of July week's always off, and then the week after the 4th of July is always off. And then we come back for 2 weeks in July, and then we're off for close to 2 weeks, 10 days, where there's a dead period in the CCS anyway. So we're off at that time, and then a few days as we come back and bring everyone back on Wednesday, August 4th, 5th, whatever that is.
Awesome. I mean, that's a lot of start and stop. Is that kind of the strategy for keeping your boys in relatively good shape? I mean, is that?
I think that's where the fear is for a lot of coaches, is if you give time off, you work all that time, and then you get out of shape, right? Like, what did our kids do over 2 weeks? Well, I saw Jojo Bay on Twitter, like he was running up hills.
Well, of course.
Because he's insane.
A lot of great athletes,
right.
that have what you have found, right? That they hold themselves to a standard in athletics.
And some don't. But either way, like in a weird way, that's for Joseph Bay, that's his vacation, that's his release. Like, I got to get out and do stuff. Like, I know you're a runner, like you got to go out and run. Like, I hate running. I'm not doing that.
Right. Only when you're chased, huh?
Yeah. Well, hopefully you avoid that. But for some players, it's go sit on a beach, and for me, it's the mental release, the mental energy that it requires to play in our 10-game season, which is arguably one of the hardest schedules in Northern California. And we're playing at Folsom, at De La Salle, Central Catholic at home. These are perennial state representatives. And then our first game's on the road at St. Francis, which is always, as we know, a vicious game. And so I want the kids to be mentally healthy. So my mental health is as important or more important than physical health, in my opinion. So we do give 2 weeks off. It's probably a little bit, the wind isn't as good, or we're not as strong on a clean, but at the end of the day, if our minds aren't driving the engine, it's not going to matter anyway.
Right. Well, I want to talk about team building and the strategies that you employ to get the team ready for the August 26th, the first preseason game. But before that, I just wanted to, I think that it's a great time, as we start this podcast and we start the season, it's a great time to differentiate our program from others in terms of what types of tools we use to keep our players healthy, to keep them, working at their optimum, and also, just in terms of the game itself, like what strategies you guys, or what tools you use to create your strategy. Right.
So the summer's a great time to start building that arsenal of tools that are necessary when it comes to equipment and gear and putting the staff in place and all that stuff. But I feel so blessed, and we've talked about this kind of ad nauseum, just how fortunate we are here at Sarah with the staff that we have and the support we have from Duke and Kevin in our medical room, and just the resources there where it keeps our kids healthy, and Brendan Hisao and Brian Carson in the weight room. This is their time right now. This is their season.
Right.
And for a lot of coaches, they have to do all of that. And I don't think in the great programs that I know of, there is so much support. This is football. You can't, and I think it's sad because I think up in the Sac Joaquin section, like 30 head coaches quit or retired last year.
Oh, wow.
And maybe it was 2 years ago, but it's like, I get it. And if I didn't have the support that I had here, I would have quit a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that we have staff that wants to work and be a part of these kids' lives, and it makes everything kind of grow. So that allows us to have a drone at every practice, because we have meerkats who know how to film the practice.
Amazing.
It comes down, we take the chip, we plug it into the computer, it's uploaded. Then my coaches, we don't just not look at it, we grade every play, so that the coaches are putting the time, because they love it and they want the kids to get better. It's like, no, that run fit is wrong against whatever team we're getting ready for. And we bought a virtual reality system this year.
Oh, really?
Right. So we can put a camera on top of a player's head, like our quarterbacks, and through virtual reality we can recreate that system and give them a test.
That's awesome.
Within the virtual reality. It's incredible.
That is so cool. I've never even heard of it.
Exactly.
Honestly.
I hadn't either. I'm like, I gotta have that. That's
like I've done
amazing.
boxing before and it's scary, but I've never, I didn't know you could do it, apply it to such a complex game. That's awesome.
So for quarterbacks and linebackers, it's spectacular. So
yeah.
Now we can get more mental reps. For a linebacker, you can put the VR thing on. It feels like you're in the game. The virtual reality is insane.
It's crazy.
And you're looking at it, and the guard pulls, and he should be able to say pull, 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 and then the software detects his voice saying pull.
Oh, no way.
So now his eyes are connected to his mouth. He's looking at the guard. I mean,
that's really high level.
It's very high level. We're just scratching the surface on stuff like that. We have our go routes, which for our scout teams, they sit at like a little phone on the belt, and they can look at it and be like, all right, I should line up here and do this.
That's the coolest thing. Explain that a little bit more for those in our audience that haven't heard about that, because you are on the sidelines. You could be in Kansas and you can be
100%.
Talk a little bit about that.
That's right. So we draw our cards in Huddle. Huddle's the software program that we use for many things, communication, film. But we draw all our cards in Huddle, then we PDF them, and through the PDF we upload the plays for the scout teams into something called Go Route. Go Route is simply, it looks like a phone, like a Samsung or Apple phone, and we send the play to it so the players never have to huddle. So let's say we're emulating Folsom.
Right.
So the kid could be the blue guy or the X or whatever, and he just looks down and goes, oh, the blue guy's running a post. Done.
Boom.
Doesn't have to huddle. As a matter of fact, it's so fast that we get the plays in for the scout team faster than the defense can get aligned to it.
That's crazy.
So sometimes the defense is like, you gotta slow down.
Because the immediacy is crazy, and the lack of like any communication errors, right? Like in terms of huddle or whatnot.
Yeah.
So do a lot of schools have those?
Virtual reality, no.
Definitely.
That's definitely a new thing coming for the coaches, and virtual reality has been perfected by our military. And our military doesn't cheat on anything.
Nothing.
And so it's $1 billion system for them to do, acts of war running through a village and boom, so that's where it started, I would say. I mean, probably started somewhere else, but I'm equating it to our world. And it's been unaffordable. But there's companies out there that are making it more affordable and bringing it into the place where you can get the same result of that sort of training.
Sure.
Not at $1 billion.
That's really cool.
So I think it's coming, but I definitely, there's Division I schools that are doing it, but I would say we're one of the few high schools.
Yeah. That is really cool.
It's very cool.
And how are the boys responding to that?
I mean, they're well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's mostly directed at our quarterbacks right now.
Sure.
Because it just seems like the most natural one-to-one thing. But I know that the individual that sold it to us is the offensive line coach at Colorado State.
Oh, very nice.
And he uses it for his linemen. It's his main training tool. Wow. And there's so much to it. I have to learn more about it so we can have the rest of the team do it. Right now, our quarterbacks are loving it.
It's pretty crazy when you're getting so techy and intuitive with football. A game like football, it's typically you identify with the rugged,
right.
It's pretty cool.
It's not, and you think back to the old days when they had the reels but they were cutting up film back then. Technology's made it a lot easier. It saved a bunch of marriages. I was talking to Lindsay about that. Huddle is probably the #1 marriage saver for all
hours of your time, right?
Totally.
That's great.
I mean, we would drive, and I remember meeting Coach Janda on the 280, to exchange VCR tapes. I mean,
that's so funny.
This is I've been the head coach here for 20 years. I mean, what's changed in the last 5 or 10 is it's remarkable.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Well, it's really cool that you're implementing so many different ways to. I mean, it's such good training for the boys too. Just from if that's what they're doing in the next level.
Oh yeah.
Right. I mean, to be familiar with it in the high school arena is pretty cool.
Yeah, that I would say we are a college prep high school. in that side of the building, and I think we're a college prep high school on this side of the campus
Yes,
too.
very cool. And I know that we talked last podcast, in episode 1, about all of the connections and the increase of, collegiate coaches that are visiting our campus and becoming more aware of what we provide our athletes, our student athletes. So that's great.
Yeah.
And just on a team building thing, I guess we got to get to the team itself. How's it looking? How are they gelling?
What I've been most pleased with is the effort from our seniors.
Very nice to hear.
Yeah. And sometimes it's not that way.
Because we lost a lot of very, very big personality seniors last year.
Big time seniors that led the way for multiple years.
Right.
So the fact that we have the 2023 class, 2022 fall, seniors stepping up is really helpful. It's going to make our lives as coaches easier, because if we're the chief motivators, we're going to fail. And the best teams are led by the seniors.
That's great.
And so they're doing a really good job. I'm still learning. There's a lot to do. I mean, it's early, but if I just look at it from a giant lens looking in, the seniors caring. It's so hard to get teenagers to care about anything. And the fact that this senior class seems to care about Padre football and what it means and living this experience to the highest that they can is a positive sign for us.
Well, that's great, because I do, as you're talking, I'm thinking back to, that was, one of the things we discussed a lot, not necessarily the seniors, but just the coming together and stepping up aspect. And I think it was post-pandemic mentality, because of the spring season prior to that.
Yeah.
But I think it was the Bellarmine game that everything came together, and from there, our trajectory changed dramatically.
Dramatically, and that was 11 weeks in the making, I think.
Exactly, it was pretty late, but
we can't do that this year.
I was gonna say, it's good that this year you're seeing this now, because I do remember at our preseason podcast, we were kind of like, is it happening, so
and it wasn't.
Wonderful.
It actually wasn't. Yeah, and we have St. Francis to thank for reminding us that it wasn't happening, and sometimes football does that to you, and it's a truthful game, and that's why I love coaching it. It's
so good.
I told the next level camp yesterday, like, this is the last kind of bastion of truth, and it doesn't matter what religion you are, what color you are, what sexual orientation it doesn't really matter. I mean, and that's like at the forefront of everything right now. And what's great about football is none of that matters.
No.
Your color is blue and gold. Right? We don't care about your religion. All we care about is, are you doing the right thing or doing the wrong thing?
Right.
It's actually very simple. And I think a lot of players that are going through tough times and transformational experiences and things that, growing up is hard. It's difficult. But when you come to Sarah football, it's not hard. I mean, it's hard, but it's not confusing.
Right.
It's, here's the standard. Here's how we're going to judge it. You either do it or you don't. The ones that do it gain something from it. And the ones that don't, still gain something from it, but maybe it's a little bit harder.
Right. No, that's true. And I mean, I think it's important to touch on that. You're talking about the toughness, obviously, in the game itself, but there's a tenderness in the family. And when people are going through harder things or do come across, intersections in life that change things dramatically. I mean, I love that this football family does come together.
Yeah.
Strong, proud, and with open arms. So you have
no doubt about it. And
I have you to thank for that. We all do.
we have a tragedy at Sarah that has struck one of our family members. A JV football player, a St. Charles family, a next level family.
San Carlos residents.
San Carlos residents. They're just amazing family, amazing humans, and God works in mysterious ways, and they're gone. There's the husband and daughter died in a tragic car accident, and I don't know, you can judge this and judge that, and Sarah's good with this and not good with that, but I can tell you with all certainty, and it actually, sadly in my 20 years, this is the biggest tragedy that we've had to face as a community, with a current student, and I mean, it's
just in our community as well.
Yeah, and I mean, again, I'm deeply vested into the football community, and it's a big part of our school, and thankfully we haven't had a lot of these issues, and this car accident is, it's shook many people, including yourself.
Yes.
And it's there's no answer. You can't give an answer as to why. I don't think we're meant to understand why. We're asking the questions, and we're not intelligent beings enough to understand why something like this could happen. So because of that, we fall back on faith and support for those that are here and living. And it's a hard, kind of stark reminder that we are all at some point going to die. And that countdown clock in the weight room is a reminder that this team is going to die. And it's, you know, you could say end or die, but at the end of the day, like, you know, we're in this life one time, and we don't get a second chance at it. And this is an opportunity for Sarah, as I was saying, and for our community to rally. And we may run track well, or maybe we run cover 2 well, or, you know, our academic resource. I don't, you know, everything out that is, you know, people judge it all the time. But when something bad happens at Sarah, this community rallies better than any community on the planet, or as good. I'm sad, but, you know, at the same time, it's just, there's always reminders out there that we get one chance, and it's the stop and smell the roses stuff actually matters. And all of us sweat the small stuff way too much. And love, humility, brotherhood, all those things really resonate at a time like this, where, you know, hopefully that we don't have any regrets when that time comes for all of us, because it's gonna, you know, just, it comes for all of us, and sometimes in a case like this, way too soon.
Way too soon.
Yeah. So.
Well, that is heavy stuff. I thank you though for, you know, making sure that you know, you're a big part of that community, and making sure that the theme of brotherhood remains strong with chapel each week, and faith that's integrated into, you know, the complex yet simple sport of football. And I think it's important. You know, I'm glad that this family knows that they've got all of us.
I think a lot of you know, some programs or some things you read about, it's all lip service, you know, but this is an opportunity for us to make sure it's not. And, you know, the decisions we make and how we actually live determines the type of people we are. And, you know, this is an opportunity for us to reach out to a Sarah family that's rooted deep into this community. 100%. You know, Coach Matt Earnshaw is best friends with that family. He actually, I mean,
it's a tragedy.
Is it? And
it touches all of us.
It does.
Whether you're close, whether you're not, it just is.
Right.
You know, when bad things happen to good people, we all question. A lot.
Yeah.
So.
And since none of us can give that answer to why, we love, and we dive into that, and we talk about it all the time on this podcast, and we talk about it all the time with Sarah, and it's you know, sometimes it's practice. We're just practicing love. We're practicing being a family and being tight, and we're practicing for moments like this.
Definitely. Well, I think that I appreciate your time. I know that we're ending kind of on a somber note, but it's truly like you know, it's heartfelt, and it's just a tender time for all of us, and you know, our prayers are going out for this family, and you know, the rally is here for them. So. Amen. So thank you all for joining us, and we will, I guess I should mention, we're gearing up for our big game, our preseason opener in Folsom on August 26th at 7 p.m., where we'll play the Division I AA champs from last season, Folsom High School. And we're preparing for that actively, so we are looking forward to it. All right.
So are they.
So are they. All right. Well, let's leave with the Go Padres.
Go Padres. Right, thank you.